Whoa, Germans taking cover! We rarely see that in movies. And here we see light machine gun support. Beautiful, this is one of the best scenes. Because till this day, it's very controversial. Canadian units were sent forward and suffered so many casualties. It's actually insane. Welcome to History Legends, and in this video we'll do a step-by-step analysis of this insane gameplay from ArmA 3 depicting the bloody Battle of Caen. The city of Caen was one of the main objectives to be captured right after D-Day. But in the end, it took Anglo-Canadian forces 2 months to capture the city and break out of Normandy. Let's check out what we can learn about this battle from this gameplay. And as always, don't forget to like, hit the bell for more videos, and subscribe. Beautiful, multiple squads, separated in fire teams, taking cover. The landscape actually looks like Normandy. Very well done. Very good. Artillery barrage. The city of Caen was destroyed after. Nothing left. Only ruins. Bombers would actually destroy the city over and over. But the Germans hid in the ruins. So these are British forces. We can recognize their helmets. Wow, they're taking cover. Amazing. A bit exposed. Oh, it's a massacre. Oof. Oh my god. The squad is out. What we know about the Battle of Caen is that it took forever for Anglo-Canadian forces to push through German defenses, but what we forget is how bloody the battle actually was. Now we know that during Operation Overlord, that means the overall Battle of Normandy, Anglo-Canadian forces lost 75,000 casualties. Now we know that most of the fighting for them took place around Caen. And if you remove the losses from the Air Force, that leaves about 60 to 65,000 casualties right there. This battle really crippled British and Canadian infantry divisions. By the end of August, most of them had suffered 75% casualties. To the extent that the British now had trouble finding replacements for the infantry, nobody wanted to go. And that explains why the British became more careful when planning their offensives later on. They were more self-conscious about casualties, as opposed to the Americans who had a constant stream of fresh replacements arriving in Europe. Lucky shot. So now the situation is very messy. We can easily recognize the British weapons, the Lee Enfield, the Sten, the Bren. Okay, now it's the Germans. No way to retreat. They're getting wrecked. Okay, this is where the British need a tank now. Blow up that church! So the British would have a lot more light machine guns supporting the advance forward. So you see, instead of having the sniper game, you would have a lot more light machine guns. But the way they move forward, very good, you know, but step by step. The moment they have a casualty, they step down. Very well done. It would be epic to have an HBO series about the British in Normandy, similar to Band of Brothers. It would be very cool. Every soldier is taking cover while firing. Excellent! Beautiful. Now in the game, everyone that's hit becomes is killed. Oh, finally a tank. Beautiful, beautiful. And the Germans retreat. Yes. I love it. I love it. You see, the British infantry took the ground, made sure there were no anti-tank guns, anti-tank weapons, and now the English tank, the British tank, moves forward. You see, this German squad got wrecked. It's actually a very realistic portrayal of a phenomenon regarding the distribution of losses in a battle. Casualties are rarely equally spread out among all units, but rather concentrated, highly concentrated on certain squads or units. For example, if we look at the Utah beach landing on D-Day, American forces lost 0.9% casualties. Now, on Omaha Beach, there were about 3,000 killed and wounded out of 43,000 Americans that took part at one point in the battle. That's 7% casualties, which is already high compared to other beach landings. However, these losses were not equally distributed. You see, the first wave on Omaha Beach got obliterated. The officers and the soldiers barely had any experience and they were just sent forward, sacrificed. One of these units forming the first wave was A Company that started with 200 men in the morning of D-Day. Within 15 minutes of landing, A Company had been cut to pieces. 91 men were killed, as many were wounded, and only 20 men managed to get across the beach. That's a loss of 96% of its fighting strength. Although the first wave suffered massive casualties, some companies actually managed to get out of the situation rather unscattered. And the situation was already way better for the second wave. This was just an example to show you that in this gameplay, that's what we see. We see the overall British company, but some squads get really mauled really bad compared to others. But then at the end of the battle, we make an average casualties for the entire battalion and we say, oh, it was only 2%, but certain squads were completely annihilated. Beautiful British tank with infantry in support, mutual support. The tank protects the infantry protects the tank. Beautiful. Then we have air support. Beautiful. Ooh. German machine guns were really deadly. Exactly. Beautiful. British tank destroys machine gun nest. But then gets destroyed right away. Now, however, in this gameplay, there's way too many tanks. Tanks everywhere. The Germans would have a lot more anti-tank guns hidden left and right. Especially the Flak 88. But I love the point of view, the first person point of view of this game. Beautiful. This, beautiful. Oh, we see wounded men. This is what I wanted to say before. Here in this gameplay, everyone that gets hit dies right away, but most would be casualties, wounded. And here we see light machine gun support. Beautiful. This is one of the best scenes. And once the tank is gone, the infantry lays flat. Beautiful. Now it's very dangerous for a tank to approach buildings like that on its own. The Germans would have Panzerschreck right away blowing it up. But this shows you how bloody the Battle of Caen was, and this was for 60 days non-stop. If you read a bit about Canadian history during World War II, you will see a lot of battles mentioned, but rarely will there be mentions about the Battle of Caen. Because till this day, it's very controversial. Canadian units were sent forward and suffered so many casualties. It's actually insane. I covered it in one of my Instagram posts, but for example, during the Battle of the Verrières Ridge on July 19th, 1944, the Calgary Highlanders started the day with 853 men. After 3 days of fighting, they had suffered 128 casualties, so that's 15%. However, once again, these were not equally spread out. C Company suffered 98 casualties alone, that's killed, wounded, or captured. That's 98 casualties out of the 128 of the Calgary Highlanders. The unit was actually annihilated. A few days later, something similar happened. The South Saskatchewan Regiment panicked during a German counterattack and lost 222 casualties. And this in one day. And B Company suffered the most casualties. It took the most hits as it went down from 95 men to 28 within a few hours. That's 70% casualties. Now let's talk about the Essex Scottish. It was wiped out during the Battle of Dieppe in 1942. It was rebuilt, new people came in, and after landing in France in July 1944, it moved forward in support of the South Saskatchewan Regiment. Only a few days after actually landing in France, the Essex Scottish got caught in that German counterattack. Half the regiment got destroyed, 301 killed, wounded, or captured. Half the unit present in the morning was gone in the afternoon. On the last day of the Battle of Verrières Ridge, on July 25, 1944, the Montrealer Black Watch Infantry Regiment was sent forward on Verrières Ridge. The Montrealers lost 315 killed, wounded, or captured out of the initial 325. Only 10 guys returned. That's 97% casualties in one day. And these events give us a hint at what might have happened with Montgomery and the British commanders who wanted to finish the war as soon as possible. And maybe these events hinted at Montgomery's plan at Arnhem, because Arnhem basically involved paratroopers and armored units, but not the infantry. We should see a lot more German machine guns. They were the ones causing so many casualties. There were one machine gun per squad, per German squad. Also, the Germans would have mortars here. No mortar fire. Oh, what is this vehicle, guys? Let me know in the comments what this vehicle is. Yeah, guys, if you know the name of this vehicle, please let me know in the comment section below. I couldn't find it. But on a side note, the British deployed a lot of similar weird vehicles on D-Day. These out-of-the-ordinary vehicles were known as Hobbart's Funnies, such as the Swimming Sherman, the Crab, the Armored Vehicle Royal Engineer, the Spigot Mortar, the Bobbing Carpet Layer, the Fasten Carrier, the SBJ Bridge Layer, the Ark, the Buffalo, the Kangaroo, and the CDL. Whoa, Germans taking cover! We rarely see that in movies. And now they keep pushing. I like how they also go along the walls, not overexposing themselves. However, the fact that the Germans have their anti-air guns right there, so close from the front line, I mean, that's very video game material. Like a wow effect. Look, out in the open, what's gonna happen? I played so many Call of Duty missions where this exact thing happened. Oh, they get destroyed, for sure. Actually, This would have been very interesting if instead of having the flak anti-air cannons, they would have German mortars. Would have been way more realistic. Oh, we see wounded guys. Very good. Oh, the Germans are even counter-attacking. Holy shit. Whoa. The Germans are not acting like dumbasses. Whoa. The Germans did that a lot, used Panzerschrecks to literally blow up walls and buildings instead of trying to sneak in through the main door. Very good. But the rest of the gameplay is a bit far-fetched, so we'll stop here. One reason why the Battle for Caen was so bloody is that whenever British or Canadian forces captured a key position, the Germans would counterattack in strength right away. Often these would even be SS panzer divisions. These would often be very motivated and would not care about casualties. So in this gameplay it would have been very interesting to see a full-on German counterattack with tanks and lots of troops that push back the British and basically repeat the cycle over and over. Now there's one more thing I noticed in this gameplay, but in video games in general, is that the houses are always empty. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that not long ago I watched a video from Bald and Bankrupt, one of my favorite YouTubers. And he happened to go to Ukraine in Donbass at the border between the separatists and the Ukrainian army, and he visited some former battlefields and even walked into abandoned houses. And what was shocking to me is that everything was left in the houses as is. There were couches, cupboards, bed frames, desks, tables, even toys, you name it. But for future video games, that would be an interesting, realistic feel to have just civilian stuff laying around. With that being said, this gameplay is excellent. Let me know if I missed anything in the comment section below. Let me know what video game, what mission you want me to cover next. And if you're actually interested in real first-hand accounts about World War II, there's my book, The Great Veterans Project. Covers all sides. You can get British, Canadian stories, Germans, American, and sometimes you can even get stories from guys that fought in the same battle but on opposing sides. Link will be in the bio. And as always, don't forget to like, hit the bell, share, and subscribe.